Well, hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Electric Bike Journal. Today we're going to be talking about the Orbea Kemen Tour. And if you know anything about our channel, we're big fans of the Kemen. We think it's a very capable bike, everything from commuting to, honestly, light trekking, bike packing, you name it. It's a very adaptable bike. Specifically, we'll be talking about the Kemen Tour, and I have the Kemen Tour 20 here right now. So stay tuned, we'll talk about what we like about it, what improvements we could see for it, who we think this bike is for, and of course the specs and how it rides. So come along as we talk about the Kemen Tour. Little monsters. Now this is the Kemen Tour. If you are looking for something a little bit more burly, they do have the Kemen ADV, which is the redo, the next generation of the Kemen SUV. So everything you see here, if you like it, but you feel like you need a little bit more ruggedness, check out the Kemen ADV. The Kemen Tour starts in at $37.99 for the Tour 30 and works its way up to the 10 at $47.99. This is the Tour 20 starting in at $42.99. They'd have two different frame styles available, both the low step and a high step or step over model. I prefer the low step for urban riding. It's a little bit easier for on and off, especially when you have gear back here and you don't have to hike your leg all the way up and over. There is a lot of cool integrations and features. Before we get into that though, let's talk about the base spec. So they do have a class 1 or a class 3 version of this bike available. There's no difference in price. It's just really a difference on where you can ride it. A lot of states have different rules and regulations. Local areas do, so be sure to check that out if you are interested. It does come in 3 different frame sizes, a small, medium, large. I'm actually riding the medium. I've actually raised the seat up a pinch. It's maybe 20 mil up from the first indicator on the seat post, so there's plenty of seat post left inside that seat tube to get it up higher. And it's actually a dampening style seat post, which we'll get into while we ride, but if you've ever seen the Cane Creek Thud Buster, very similar to that, using a polymer to dampen and add a little extra cushion up top. Some of the integrations and features though that I was talking about. So there's an integrated tail light, which you can function from the Shimano controller on the handlebars, kind of switch through a few different modes, which I think is great for daytime riding and nighttime riding. And there is the visibility light located on the head tube. This one's cool, much the same as the DM that we reviewed before. They've now made it wrap around even further, so you get greater side visibility. And it's just kind of an interesting light that I think helps draw attention to you while you ride. You know, it's not the standard bike light, and I think that is great when you're trying to be seen when you're out on the road. On the back of that light, there is a USB-C port, so you can use their integrated SP Connect adapter with an SP Connect phone case for your phone or the universal adapter for your phone. Mount that on there and actually charge your phone while you ride. Why am I talking about the phone though? Well, Orbea's theory is no displays, less distractions. Everyone's got a big old phone in their pocket. I know I do. So being able to use my phone as the display, use the eTube Ride Connect app, and be able to connect to this bike to get all of the tracking, data, battery life, all those things on my phone while I ride and be able to pull that off. Just a much cleaner looking bike. On the front side of the handlebars, there is an integrated headlight as well. This is something that you could turn on and off with a button located by that USB-C port on the back side of that visibility light. And since I'm talking so much about the front end here, you can probably see that the handlebars look a little bit further away than some of the photos online. There is a 40mm spacer that they include when you get this bike, and that helps to offset the bars, not just forward, but also up. And if it ends up being too high up, the plate, the bracket that the handlebars mount to actually can flip over, which will drop the bars down lower. So you really have a lot of room to refine the fit of the handlebars, you know. And this is something that I think is worth mentioning, as a lot of brands, especially in the urban commuter space, have gone integrated and kind of proprietary in some of their systems. You can kind of get stuck with their handlebars and their stem and those details. And as they're trying to make the integrated internal wiring for the, all the cables to be clean and sleek, some of us that like to customize our bikes feel a little shortcutted and thrown under the bus because we can't modify or change any of that, which is a critique I had before in the past on the previous Kemen. But on this guy, hey, we can now change the height. They do make flat bars as well as these riser bars. So there are new options that I think engineers deserve a round of applause for, finding a way to refine this and make it a little bit better so that way you can customize it to fit you that much better. And again, getting back to me saying I'm on a medium-sized frame, being able to pull this seat up and get those bars out a little bit more really helps me dial in a very comfortable ride and fit. I just went for a 18-mile ride and wouldn't question the fit at all. It felt great. I was very upright, a little forward, which is how I like to ride, and back's fine, legs are fine. I feel great on this bike. So definitely worth sizing and finding a local dealer so you can get on there and play with some of the refined fit before you make your decision on what size you want. Now, I was saying this comes in either a class 1 or a class 3 option. Those all use a Shimano EP6 drive unit. I like this drive unit on urban bikes and commuter bikes. I think it's the right choice for this kind of bike. You don't really need an EP8, and some of the refined details of an EP8, EP801 really are benefited in more of a performance environment. The EP6 might have a little bit more weight. Maybe it's a little bit louder, but as you'll see later on while I'm riding, if the mic even picks it up, it's a very quiet drive unit, so noise isn't an issue, and it's an e-bike. It's a commuter bike. I'm not racing around. This is a class 1 bike, so that extra few hundred grams or whatever it is, the difference between the EP8 and the EP6 is definitely nothing that I'd be concerned about. All of the Kemen Tours will have a 630 watt-hour battery that's integrated in the down tube. Now, before you get stressed out thinking about range and distance, 630 watt-hour battery is what I think is the sweet spot for most all e-bikes. It's the great compromise and battle between weight and volume and how that affects how a bike performs and feels while you're riding it, all the while keeping a large volume battery with large cells that increase the performance of the drive unit as that battery is used and the percentage of battery left is decreased. If you only have a super small battery, the cells just don't react the same way with the drive unit, but I'm gonna be talking in circles if I go too deep into that. If you have a question about that, leave a comment down below. I'd love to go deeper on battery size, cell size, how that interacts with drive units, but yeah, leave a comment down below if that's something you want to see. Back into the specs, all of the Kemen Tours will have an 80mm travel front fork. All of them are spec'd with a Sun Tour front fork, from the MVX on the 30 to an NX1 on the 20 and a Mobi 34. A little bit burlier stanchions on there on the Model 10. This one is great. I just went for an 18-mile ride. I don't need more fork than that. It does have an air chamber in there, so you can set the air pressure for your rider weight, and it does have a lockout as well. So on those flat, smooth roads, you can lock it out and really optimize your pedaling performance, your pedaling platform. And then when it gets bumpy, like you'll see later on in the video when I went a little off-roading, having that open just adds to that comfort. Drivetrains across the board will all be a Shimano CUES drivetrain. I'll talk about it a little bit further in the performance of that drivetrain and why I like it on urban bikes, just as a newer drivetrain option from Shimano. It has been designed with e-bikes in mind, and therefore it can hold up to the job and the demands of a high torque, high power output electric bike. The differences between the models will be a 9-speed, a 10-speed, and 11-speed. Right in the middle there had a 10-speed, and again, wasn't looking for an extra gear, able to pedal up the steep stuff and able to cruise. In fact, hit the speed limiter multiple times, kind of constantly at a class 1 bike in boost. So just found myself riding in trail for the most part in that high gear and not having to work super hard to stay right up there at 20. Braking power is supplied by Magura hydraulic disc brakes. These are great. They work super well. I feel like the bedding in process takes a little bit of time. You got to be attentive to it, but once they're seated, once they're bed in, they work really well, and I'm very happy with the braking performance on this bike. Fun little details before I get out on the road and show you how it performs. There is a tool mount or a bottle cage mount located on the underside of the top tube. I happen to have the hip lock switch located on there right now. It's very stealthy. I can barely see it looking from on top, and it kind of sneaks in there, and I'm able to have a lock on this bike at all times. And then I do have a bottle cage located on the down tube there that I throw a nice little compact bottle in there, something with an insulator, so it keeps it cool in these sunny days, but I know that I'm riding around with a little bit of water. Out back, we have a Mick rear rack. Something Orbea does, the clean lines, it just looks so natural on this bike. It does support the fender up top. The fender is then supported on the down tube. Back here, no supports, but these aluminum fenders sit very firm. As a Mick compatible rear rack, it does have the quick connect Mick system rails on there, but you can take those off if you have center pin in your bag and just mount those on the rail. This is rated for 20 kilograms, so about 45-ish pounds. I'll do the right math and cue that over here. But plenty enough to carry around your gear for a day's outing, you know, laptop, day gear, baby stuff, whatever you need to put on there, you can load up on the back, and it really holds the weight well. You don't feel it too much back there. Up front, we do have a nice big full-length fender, aluminum as well. They both have these really wide mud guards on there, which when you're riding around in the mucky, rainy, muddy days of the year, it does a great job at catching and really keeping that debris from coming up and getting on you. I did ride in a grip of mud and a lot of rain this winter on this bike, and I would say that, you know, I was wet from the rain coming down, but not from stuff coming up off the road, which was nice because my shoes didn't get quite as wet. Last couple details here that I just think are nice touches on this bike, especially at that starting price point of $37.99. They'll all get the Ergon grips. These are my favorite grips for commuter bikes, urban bikes, and even into hardtail EMTB. Nice palm platform, a good rubber. You can ride with gloves, without gloves, very comfortable. They do a great job just dampening that vibration and making things comfortable for you. And it does come with a nog, the old classic bell on there, which, you know, I think sounds pretty good and is gonna help work. And I definitely used it even today on my ride to let people know that I was coming up behind them. Now, who is the Kemen Tour for? Well, first off, the Kemen Tour is for anyone looking for a very comfortable bike. They want a quality bike built to very high standards that is gonna hold up and last them for years to come. How does that happen? Well, Orbea is how that happens. You have a hydroformed aluminum frame that is built to the same standards and quality and control of their higher performance bikes that cost 2-3 times more. And that is gonna be your primary chassis of what makes this bike last for the years to come. Additionally, the component spec, a Shimano drive unit, their partnered battery, a version 2 of their already intelligent smart charger to help keep things going. You know, Magura brakes, Shimano drivetrain, quality wheels, the Schwalbe marathon tires. Every inch of this bike has quality componentry to it, and is something that you can go to any bike shop and they're gonna feel grateful that the electric bike you bought them that maybe needs some service all has quality parts on it, so they can find any information they need on it, and they can find the parts they need to service it if something needs serviced. But on the performance side of things, who is this bike for? Well, it's for someone looking to not just have a casual outing in the morning or their casual commute to work. It's also for the recreational rider, someone on the weekends, after work riders, someone that wants to get some good miles in feel comfortable along the way and feel well supported. Again, being able to choose between a class 1 or a class 3 to get the right bike for you and your local restrictions. 18 miles in on a class 1 bike, I think there was twice that I was looking for more speed out of it, but to feel comfortable and feel just well supported on a ride, 20 miles an hour is going quick enough and felt great. You know, anything faster, honestly, we're talking about performance, and wasn't really wearing performance gear today, so 20 miles an hour was a smooth day for me. Additionally, when considering who this bike is right for, it is right for almost all ages. You know, everyone from college kids up to retirees, being able to load this up on your bike rack, travel around the country with it, have a quality bike that's ready to go for you when you get to your destination, and equally have a sleek bike when you're commuting between classes and maybe that after school job, having a really nice quality bike that's got all of your lighting and safety precautions in mind to keep you safe on the road when you are commuting those late hours, getting from campus back home. You know, I think there is something to be considered for many of us. It's a relatively unspoken thing, but I think we're all thinking it, you know, oh, I can get a bike that does all that for, you know, 1,700 or $2,000 or less. Why would I get this one? Well, the support from Orbea is huge. The support from the manufacturers on the componentry is huge. This is something we don't really talk about as much, and maybe bike shops don't even talk about it a whole lot, but the price difference isn't them just trying to make more money to make the same product. The price difference there is the years of engineering, the years of refining, the quality control on having a well-tested bike frame, manufactured frame, something that uses higher quality across the board and takes more than 6 months to just slap together. Not saying that all those other bikes are turned around very quickly, but the time and energy invested from the brand to make you a super safe, very quality bike that is going to be something that you can ride for years to come definitely separates the different tier of bikes. And I might be talking in circles here, I might be sharing a little bit too much, but there is something to be had with that, and that's why I think that, you know, starting at $37.99 and working its way up, especially in today's world, I think that's a very fair price point when most bikes are starting around $4,000 and working their way up. Of course, there's the other bikes that we frequently review here on the channel, but there is just a ride quality difference. You know, they're all gonna get the job done the same way. It's just how you feel while riding, and even when it comes to lifting it up onto a rack or not. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Specifically, if you think you are the right rider or this bike is the right bike for you, let us know. What kind of riding do you do, and how does that fit into what you're looking for? We'd love to have some, you know, confirmation or expand our thoughts on where a bike like this fits in. There's plenty of cool features with this bike and a lot of ability that you have with it, and I'm sure there's something I missed, guaranteed, but ultimately the Kemen as a whole, the whole series, this new Tour and that ADV, if you're looking for something a little bit more rugged, I think you're going to be getting a really great bike and feel something that you could feel very confident in purchasing and committing to purchase. It's going to be a great bike for you. So again, thanks for watching, thanks to Orbea, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Wow.